Today, we are diving into a topic that's both timeless and suddenly very current: investing in gold. From ancient temples to modern trading platforms, gold has always held our fascination. But in today's world, where your cousin might be putting all of his money into stocks and mutual funds, does gold still deserve a place in your portfolio? To help us unpack all of this, I have with me Sanjeev Vora, Head of Sales at Stocks. Sanjeev has been deeply involved in Stocks' foray into digital gold, specifically gold tokens. And today we'll explore everything from traditional gold investments to tokenized gold, what's real, what's risky, and what's next. Let's get started. Hey Sanjeev, how are you?
Hi Priyank, I'm good.
Here's my first question, and it's a pretty personal question. This is about my cousin. He has been working for the last 5 years now, and most of his portfolio is in MF and equities. Now, when you talk about gold, why should somebody like him, who has started investing early, has a sizable portfolio, should be considering gold?
So first step for any individual who starts to earn and start investing is to first start somewhere. Of course, equities are a good bet from that perspective, especially at the young age where you are more amenable to take risks and therefore get rewarded. But at the same time, there are many assets, for example, gold and real estate and all, in which you should get into, no matter what age group you are in. Reasons for that are that you should ideally be diversified in your investment portfolio, and you should definitely look at gold, which is a very, very good store of value.
So Stocks has launched gold tokens. What makes this version of gold more attractive or special for investors such as my cousin that I spoke of?
Traditionally, gold investments has been happening through jewelers, where people go buy jewelry and they call it as investment in terms of jewelry investments. But typically, you'll go to a jeweler and buy the gold, right? Gold investments and any other asset investment through online channels is the next big thing. Of course, as we go online, we have to look at the safety and other aspects which we have implemented through our product platform. We have all the tokens going on a blockchain and being made available through blockchain process, which brings in a lot of safety features in the overall process. So it's not just a digital gold product as such, but it's a digital gold product with a lot of safety inherent in it.
So for somebody who's new to this space and has just started investing, let's say they are considering investing in gold, what's the best way to invest? Is it physical gold, jewelry, or they should look at digital forms of investment or digital gold that you spoke about?
Let's specifically talk about gold only, not generally about the products. So when we talk about, let's say, physically buying the gold vis-a-vis, let's say, buying a digital gold product, primarily what you're looking at is that when you buy a physical gold, you are going to a jeweler shop typically and asking for whether it's a bar or a coin or, let's say, jewelry. So if you're looking from investment perspective, you have to be very clear that when you're looking at jewelry, it's more of a sentimental kind of a purchase where you are buying jewelry for, let's say, your wife or ultimately for your potentially daughter's marriage or whatever. When we talk about jewelry, of course, there are a lot of other charges get involved where you have making charges because, and not to say that anything wrong with, you are still giving the making charges on the coins and bars or whatever denomination coins you purchase in the physical gold market with the jewelers. But when you come to digital gold products, you are buying a product in which the services of storage at a wholesale level is provided by a very, very well reputed and very, very well licensed entity. For example, a vault. Let's say we have tied up with Brinks Vault, and so they are providing us that service. So once the gold is stored with them, then it is tokenized and then sold to the customers. So there's a complete change in terms of how do you actually handle that physical gold vis-a-vis, let's say, you are buying it physically from a jeweler versus you buy digital gold. You don't have to handle it physically, so you're able to do your investments in a much better and efficient manner.
Let's say I am investing, I have a lakh, right, and I want to invest in digital gold versus on physical gold, and Stocks has launched gold tokens. So how does that compare? And I would love to get into details about it.
I spoke about broadly the charges when you buy a physical gold. Let's say you have to pay the making charges and all, which can, for jewelry, for example, they can vary from anywhere between 8% to, let's say, 25%. So that's the broad range.
Up to 25%.
It depends upon a lot of things, not just the jeweler itself, like where you are, whether you are in rural area versus urban area, but also to the extent how complex your jewelry design is. So a lot of other factors come in. Of course, that remains a sentimental will buy. So you pay that kind of charges. But when you come to the overall charges, which are like hidden charges, which you are asking, when you go to buy a physical jewelry or physical gold bar, depending on which jeweler you are buying from, and industry is quite efficient and pretty trustworthy in that sense. But there will definitely be some instances where potentially the purity of gold which is claimed in the bar or jewelry itself is not what it is. So to that extent, hidden charges are there in the physical purchase.
Do you have an idea how much of?
It completely depends. So I've heard from people, again, it's like hearsay, that when somebody, like, there have been jewelers who have been saying that they're selling 22 carat jewelry, but actually the jewelry was only for 14 carat. You're paying gold for like up to 22 carats, which is like roughly 92% purity, 91.6. So that much purity gold you're purchasing, but you're actually getting significantly lower than that.
Wow.
So that's in a way, I will say, as hidden charge. But at the same time, I must add that hidden charge is something which you tend to know only after your purchase. That's what I call as hidden charges.
Right.
But as far as stocks is concerned, all the charges, whether it is the delivery fee, whether it is the transaction fee, whether it is the owning the physical gold part of it, all the charges related are known to you upfront. You can easily know what you're getting into, what kind of purity you're getting in terms of bar, and how tokens have been minted, whether they're backed by physical. Of course, they're backed by physical. So all these things you come to know upfront before you start investing. So you are very, very sure that there are no hidden charges in that.
There's a lot of transparency that you offer when one buys, and what you are also kind of saying is that when you're purchasing physical gold especially, not a lot of charges are transparent to you as a consumer, and especially if you're a first time consumer, and correct me if I'm wrong.
It depends upon the nature of product as well. So if you are, let's say, if you're going to call your jeweler before you go to his shop and you ask, what is your making charge? Of course, he will ultimately, the reply you'll get is that, it depends upon which piece of jewelry you're buying, or let's say, because it will depend upon the design and a lot of other factors. And in saying that, jeweler is not trying to hoodwink you. Of course, he's right.
Yeah.
So he has
like
to charge
you said,
accordingly.
it's the cost of craftsmanship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So dialing back to digital gold, how safe is it really? Is it actually backed by physical gold?
Let me very quickly tell you how the process of tokenization of creating of the gold tokens works on these stocks. What we do is we have the world-class, very well-known refineries who are known to everyone, and they are pretty much licensed by BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, and of course they have relevant licenses from the government of India to operate, and they are effectively bringing the gold in for tokenization, and those tokens are ultimately sold on the platform. And the process of how this gold comes in is that, of course, refineries are bringing the gold in, but that gold is not stored with the stocks, not with like in the physical custody of stocks, but it is stored in the vaults. We have in a way overseer of that gold which is stored, and the issuance of tokens. So for example, if I have a 1 kilo of gold, I issue roughly 100,000 tokens against that. Now, how much gold is stored, we get the daily report from the vault about that. Like, okay, today there is 1 kilo, next day it is 2 kilos, and so on. So that report I get physically from the vault service providers, and that I issue to the market. I display it on my website. So that takes care of the physical aspect of it, as to how much gold is physically stored in the stocks platform. Against that, how many tokens have been issued, auditing agency and overseeing agency, which basically takes a look at against those 1 kilo, let's say that 1 kilo of gold, which is there for tokenization. I have not issued 200,000 tokens against that, for example. So this is what I do in order to make sure that I have one-to-one mapping of, let's say, a particular token vis-a-vis the physical quantity which it represents. And these details are available on the website and can be checked very easily. And of course, we have time to time independent audit as well. So it's not that we are just relying on the reports which are generated by the vault service providers, though they are very well regulated, pretty well known firms, but we still do the independent audits for that on a quarterly basis. The physical side of the gold is already taken care of. On the issuance of the tokens part, we have a situation where there is an overseeing agency which basically looks at how much gold has been stored in the vault, and against that how many tokens have been issued, and that's an independent third party which actually takes care of that. They keep a tab on the digital part of it. So we have both the situations covered. We have where all the data related to the physical storage of the gold is available to the public, and we have an independent agency which takes care of the tokenization process and how many tokens have been actually issued. How we are different from other digital gold platform is that our whole data regarding the tokenization and all the tokens, that is available on the blockchain. Whatever data gets generated, that let's say against 1 kilo I have generated 100,000 tokens, even I cannot manipulate that, because once it goes on blockchain, it remains immutable. That is, it cannot be changed. So
Okay.
again, I don't want to talk about other platforms, how they manage the data and how, whether, to what extent they can change that data or not. But as far as stocks is concerned, we have taken stocks out of the equation of data tinkering or data management or anything like that. Physical gold is not stored with us; it's stored with a third party, which is licensed by the government of India. Then we have tokenization part, which is tokens are on the blockchain, so I cannot change that. So I've taken the equation where trust-wise, it's very easy to trust the platform.
Let's say I have a few digital gold tokens and I want to convert that into physical gold, get that in my home, or let's say put it in a locker. Is that possible? Can I order an equivalent of that and get it delivered?
Simple answer is yes. So we have a process where the tokens, if you want to, let's say if I am the investor, I have bought certain tokens, I can click a button and go for token burning, and I can give the request for issuance of physical gold against those tokens to me. So for example, if you want to get into physical delivery, the process of getting the gold to you, those charges to be borne by the investor or the person who wants to take physical delivery, holder of token basically. And after that, you can simply get your physical gold with you.
And how much time will that process take?
We target the deliveries within 48 to 72 hours at the doorstep, but we are also working on the process where the physical delivery can be actually taken from our accredited jewelers and vault itself. So to that extent, it is definitely possible to do the same day delivery as well. But again, depending on what kind of service you want, we have various kind of services which you can take and the timelines according for them.
Where you invest for 11 months and the 12th month is for free. This is a scheme by a lot of popular jewelers across India, I believe. And it's seen as a good investment modality in gold. How would you compare it, let's say, with digital gold investment because of this 12-month? What is your take on that?
If you look at it from the investment perspective, I would say that it's a combination of sentimental investment purchase. But typically those units which you buy from the jeweler, you can redeem those units only in form of jewelry. So let's say if you want to buy jewelry, of course you can do that, but that will involve additional costs when you actually go to buy that particular set of jewelry as well. For example, they'll be making charges, whether it is 15%, 25%, depending on how which jeweler and the designs and everything. So when you look at, see, the product like gold is easily available, okay, and the pricing is very well known. So the main thing which you play out is on the convenience of access which you're trying to play out. So if you're looking purely from the investment perspective, then probably that's not the ideal product for you, because there you will have to necessarily buy it in the form of jewelry if you're buying physical gold. Otherwise, you will not get the same price or as may be prevalent in the market. So therefore, overall, it's not the ideal practice from the investment perspective. But again, if you add sentiments to it, then of course, if you want to buy jewelry, probably that's the reason why people get throng to such kind of products.
I have one follow-up question because gold is such a commodity that has both investment as well as sentimental value, and I think more of a sentimental value. Let's say I purchase 5 gram or 10 gram gold tokens worth that weightage on stocks over a period of time, and then I want to convert that into jewelry. How will that work out? Can I take physical delivery of the gold, then give it to a jeweler, just pay for that making charge? Is that possible?
So in principle, answer is yes, that we have tie-up with the jewelers who accept our tokens and can give you the physical delivery against those tokens. So in short, the answer is yes. But overall, if you're looking at the investment in gold, let's say as as the experts say, you should have 5 to 10% of your overall portfolio in gold, and especially where you can start small in stocks. You can start with as low as 100 rupees worth of investment. You can definitely start there and look at it from the investment perspective, and you can use those tokens even for jewelry purchase as well. So the point is that if you're looking purely from the investment perspective, you just buy stocks gold tokens and sell wherever you want. You feel your market has topped up and you want to sell it, you can just get your cash against that. If you want physical delivery, of course you can get physical delivery just from the stocks platform itself. Third thing is, if you want to buy jewelry, then you of course go to the jewelers who are accredited with stocks, give them those tokens, transfer those tokens to them, and buy your whatever jewelry you want to buy from them. So all these aspects are possible. So you can actually choose whether you want to invest, whether you want to go for sentimental purchase of jewelry, or you want to have a combination of both.
So I would also want to understand a bit about investment.